This is the third video in this Lab 2 pre-lab, and so on Canvas there'll be a step file that you can download and then convert into SolidWorks parts. You'll have to, they only come through with shaded without edges, but that's just a visibility thing. And also the parts will not be constrained, so on this particular one I added some, let's see, I added some I put in some work planes that were right at the midpoint of some of these lines to keep everything lined up here, and then just did a concentric um, constraint there. So on this one, you can see, let me just turn this back off, the work planes. So anyways, if this was at some angle, so let's see if this is like up at the roof at some angle, and so if the plate is in here, and you can see this is kind of nice because once you have it in position, then you can just drop this drawer a little bit and back up. You're not going to have to worry about knocking it off. And the same thing is as you move into position to pick one off, the plate will be hanging down like this. You can get in position and then just close the drawer, and then you'll be able to pick up the arm. So this is one idea that you can actually use this model if you want. Obviously, this is going to have to then be connected to some other fixture that will have the links connected to it. But you're free to try this if you want. And then another one that so this is one with a slide. You have these linear slides, and so let me just. There's a Pololu motor in there, and so this is just another idea. You could also design this so that the top jaw was fixed and the bottom jaw went up and down, so that you wouldn't have that clearance issue, same as before. But these two grabbers will give you at least some idea to start thinking about. So we've talked about the graphical linkage synthesis and how you can, if you know positions and orientations for three different positions and orientations, how you can then determine where the where the linkage pivot points need to be. And so in this particular case, if we were to move these, say like so that this end was all under the same spot. Remember that we can move the robot back and forth, so we have that degree of freedom. But what I'm going to do is go to options here and just turn off the, I guess I already did that, so I turned off the snapping, because when you move this sketch around, so in other words, what this is, what you're looking at right here is just a sketch. So there's the field, here's the roof, and these are just, this is just a sketch on the XY plane of the assembly. So these aren't actual parts, it's just a sketch. And you'll notice that there's, perpendiculars, because we have to be able to rotate. This one is at 25 degrees, which it would be if it was on the other side. So in other words, I just want to try and do some linkage synthesis to figure out where the pivot point should be so that we can get to, 0 degrees at 2 inches above the floor. Excuse me. And then this one, so let me just turn on that collector. So in other words, this one, this sketch I just had as actually the one that's defined. So I can't move the sketch of the grabber right here, excuse me, is right on this collector. So let me just shut that off again. But so this one, you can see if I try and drag it, it won't move. The other two are constrained. It has to be, you can see I have it has to be lined up with this edge here. So that's 2 inches, and but I can move this one, right? I can move this back and forth here, and I'm going to have to stop here and pick up from the next video.